Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful morning. I just went out and we have a fish pond and we stocked it with bass and sunnies and crappies and catfish and mosquito minnows and fatheads and shiners. And anytime I want a meal, I just go to the pond and I go catch a meal, right? And if you like fishing, it is the most joyful thing you could ever do, right? So what I'm saying is, to some degree, I have figured out this game that we call life, right? The game of life. And it's an incredible game, right? Earlier, we went and harvested duck eggs, right? These are incredible nutrient dense foods. So we've got the duck eggs, we've got the fish here. So we're going to have a really good lunch. And I want to share this with you. Well, I'll show you one more thing real quick. Sorry for all the moving around. We also put in a food forest, right? We have about 260 different types of food producing plants all around us. And for the most part, these are perennial plants. Perennial plants are things like this fig tree, right? This free energy system that provides calories. And we don't have to do much at all, except for we have an automated irrigation system that when it's not raining, when it's dry, the water system turns on and it irrigates these plants. And then once they get established, then you don't have to do anything. Then nature does all the rest of the work. Isn't that amazing? Like, we live in this epic vision of like the Garden of Eden. That's how we're supposed to live, my friends. And we've been deceived and taken out of the Garden of Eden in our minds. And that's where all the problems start. They all start in our minds, right? The word governmente literally means mind control, right? Governmente, no matter how good the story is not the friend of the people. If they were, well, first of all, they would change their name, which has this vibration, this energy of slavery, and they would change it to something like empowermente, right? Let's empower the mind, or encouragemente, right? Let's encourage the mind, right? But that's not what they do, right? They control the mind. So what we've also done is we've planted a bunch of annuals. So all these little white sticks in the ground, these are annual plants. Plants like cucumbers and squash and pumpkins and tomatoes. And some of these things self-seed, but when you really want to get dialed in on location and things like that, then annuals are a little more work. And in fact, to give you an example, I'm just going to share a little more detail as I point to this. So it took my buddy Chris. Chris is an amazing guy. He probably spent 5 or 6 hours seeding, putting seeds in trays, about 350 seeds. He's coming up, right? Isn't that amazing? So he put about 350 seeds in trays in 5 or 6 hours. Then we took another couple hours and we built these rows. Fortunately, somebody delivered mulch, and then we spread the mulch out, and now we've got these rows. That took us another, I would say, a total with two people of 5 or 6 hours. And then we put the seeds in the ground. Maybe that didn't take us long at all. Maybe an hour, right? It's a tiny little hole. So now, as a result of right there, what's in front of us right there, we'll have ridiculous amounts of food, right? Well, there's no way our families could eat what's right in front of us, right? So what does that mean? That means we will have a surplus. Now, what do we do with the surplus? Well, we can either trade it or sell it or give it away, right? I'm a big fan with the current situation of supporting our community. And so we're creating here a Freedom Farm Academy, which is a CSA school. So what is a CSA? Have you heard of a cooperative? A CSA is a community supported agriculture model. And we are tying that into a school with 25 kids and 3 teachers. The teachers will start out at about $72,000 per year. And here in this climate, in this economic climate. And why is that? Well, I'll get down to the numbers, because my goal in this is to share with you a model that you can do in your community. Anybody could do this. All right? And tell me where I'm wrong. Like, debate me if you don't agree, if you think it's pie in the sky. Tell me where we're missing the gaps, right? Where our model is going to fail. And then let's talk about it, because we love getting feedback. We love learning. You know, in fact, some of my best consultants are people who simply think I'm crazy, and they tell me for free all the things I'm doing wrong and how they're doing it better, right? So from whatever perspective, we would love to get your opinion on this. Please leave a comment. So here's the model. Here in Central Florida, my good friends here that live on the property, they're sending their 2 kids to private school. Private school costs them $2,000 per month per kid, right? So they're spending $4,000 a month, not to mention that it's an hour away and the drive is just crazy, right? So, which is relevant because this school is right outside of our back door. So now they're spending $4,000. If they could spend $2,400, because our school is going to be $1,200 a month in this zone. If we were in Costa Rica, it might be $300 per month. And here's where it gets really exciting. As a result of the kids going to this school, the parents and the families will receive all of the food that they need to thrive, locally grown, literally by their kids, poison-free, and right near their houses. And we have a diversity of food. We have chickens and turkeys and ducks. We have bees, although some of the bees flew the nest, and now we've got to get some more bees in. By the way, we're rookies at this stuff. I don't know much about bees, so I hired a local guy to put up some beehives. We've already got thousands of dollars of honey from those beehives with very little maintenance. I don't know anything about bees. That's probably why they flew away, right? But now we're going to get some back, and we're going to learn from that, right? The game of life isn't meant to be easy. It is meant to be enjoyable, right? And sometimes it's the struggles that are the catalyst for our awakening, right? When we win, we party. When we lose, we ponder, right? So sometimes the losses, the failures are the most important things in our lives when we look at it from that perspective, right? And I have failed a lot, my friends. I have went in waves. I've had series of successes and series of failures. And the last one, financially speaking, could have been said to have been 17 years of failures. I did $1.3 billion in revenue in a mortgage business, bought a boat, lived on the ocean. I thought I was cool as shit, right? And that thinking I was cool was a form of arrogance. And, well, it turned out that God, the universe, nature has a way of stifling arrogance by showing us that we're really not that smart, right? But the ultimate wisdom is to not go after that craziness. Just simply be present and enjoy the process, right? As soon as we start getting frustrated and thinking, why isn't it easier? And asking disempowering questions of ourselves and of our friends and our family, well, then we go on this trajectory downward. Are you doing that? Are you asking in your internal conversations, which are the most important? Are you asking silly questions that disempower you, or are you asking questions that empower you, that encourage you, that create joy in your life, right? So back to the school. So 25 kids, 3 teachers. The 25 kids paying $1,200 a month is $30,000 a month, right? Our system here is a completely off-grid school, and 3 teachers will start out at $72,000 per year as a base. Plus, the teachers, after a certain amount of time, because it takes a little bit of time for these systems to establish, after a certain amount of time, they will also get all of their food needs met from the school. So now 72 grand a year base plus your food needs met. What is that? That's in the 80s as a starter. And 3 teachers helping to guide 25 students. That's a good student to teacher ratio. 1 teacher will be a primary curriculum teacher. They will have an assistant teacher, and then there will be a permaculture / CSA or cooperative teacher, right? A teacher that leads the students in the field where the students, and I took a video yesterday of my daughter, Sophie. She's 5 years old, and she just planted, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 different starts. She went and got the soil. She put the soil in the little things. She then put the seeds in the soil. And by the way, she did it way better than I'm doing it. And she asked a question, and she stated something to me yesterday at 5 years old that blew my mind. She picked up a handful of soil, and there was a hard chunk of soil in there, kind of almost like a rock. And she broke it apart with her fingers, and she goes, oh, okay, that could work. She put it in this little thing, and then she put the seed in, and then she put soil, and she goes, we want to make sure that the seed has something soft, right? Because the rock is so hard, right? I was blown away. She actually talked about the plant roots, right? The plant roots, they want to have something more soft. And she's right. How did she know that? How did that I've never said anything like that in my life. I've never even thought anything like that in my life. So how is a 5-year-old teaching me stuff about growing and gardening? I almost have tears in my eyes because it's innate. It's intuitive. It's who we are. We are meant to live. All of us. The world is meant to live in the Garden of Eden. Humanity is meant to live this way through stewardship, through simply taking care of the land and building soil. This is the foundation of life. All wealth is derived from our God-given natural system, right? And yet, how have we treated her? We're in process of destroying her. And what the deep state would like us to believe, what the evil, some call it Satan, which means adversary, right? What the people who want to control us would like us to believe is that humans are the problem and that humans need to be depopulated, right? Hence the agenda that is playing out all over the world. Hence the life expectancy has went down by multiple years just in the last 4 years. Hence the poisons in our air, in our soil, in our water, and in our minds, right? The poison of shame and fear and humiliation and pride and rage. All of these things, I just call it good and evil, right? Everything's backwards, right? Like the devil never lived. It's good, it's evil, and it shouldn't be good and evil. It should be live and evil. One system, the system that I'm advocating and demonstrating, the solution to mass extinction and deforestation and cancer and diabetes and heart disease, the solution to hunger and scarcity, because there's one way to defeat scarcity, and that is through abundance. The solution to all of it is when we rise up together with faith and courage, and we start loving our land and loving our neighbors, right? Even the ones who voted for the other side, even the ones who are completely NPCs, who are programmed, useful idiots, right? And maybe loving them is a stretch, but what you can do is you can stop hating them. what you can do is you can stop judging them. You can stop criticizing them. You can stop laughing sarcastically at them. And my folks, I've done plenty of this, and sometimes I still do. And then I catch myself in judgment, right? That's not who we are when we are at our best. When we are at our best, we are in presence, joyfully demonstrating that we have overcome, we have risen up. And by the way, just to get a little more kind of optimistic for you, so we are now connected with the Maha movement very deeply. I met with Bobby Kennedy. I sat down with him one-on-one, and I shared with him the solution to all of the world's biggest problems, including war. And at first, he looked at me like I was crazy. And after 15 minutes, he was inspired. I witnessed this man being incredibly inspired. Now, do I trust anybody at that level of government? That's irrelevant. Because what I do trust is that everybody can be inspired. And what I do trust is that nature, God's design, can provide epic, infinite, exponential abundance, right? To go back to the free energy system, Tesla, you can eat your heart out, right? I mean, I love Tesla's work, and I'm very excited to see that type of free energy system come to the world. But this is a free energy system for humans that is meant to be everywhere. What do humans run on? We run on calories. What does provide? Tasty, nutritious, delicious calories, and the mulberry, and the Jamaican shit, and the ice cream bean, and the zapote, and the bananas, and the longans, and the lychees, and the grapes, and the passion fruit, and the avocado, and it just goes on and on and on. My friends, right now, go and start planting seeds. If it's winter where you're at, I'm from Minnesota, I get it. You can do this everywhere in the world. You're not going to have these same plants in Minnesota, but there are food forests in Minnesota that make this look like a baby, that make this look like an immature little toddler, which it is, right? This is only 2.5 years old, a little over 2.5 years. Over here, there was nothing here but sand, a blank bed of sand. Now, look at this. It's an epic, thriving food forest, right? This area here is about a year and a half in the ground. You can see the difference between this and that, right? Now we're starting to put density in here, and look at those yellow flowers. Those are pioneers. That's called Mexican sunflower. This is another pioneer called an ice cream bean tree, right? These are incredibly beneficial plants that fix nitrogen in the ground. And our ground cover here, a lot of perennial peanut and sunshine mimosa and other different, there's a big patch of sweet potatoes there. This type of ground cover heals and builds soil, right? And the science on this, by the way, is called permaculture, which means permanent agriculture or permanent culture. And like this area over here, look at how ugly that is, relatively speaking. Well, our next phase is to turn all of that into this. And we'd love your help. If you want to come by, we are living in Galt's Landing, like who is John Galt, and the book Atlas Shrugged. And we are living here now, and we have Airbnbs. We've been here since December 1st, and we have Airbnbs. The ratings are off the charts, like they're really good. And people come here, and everybody I see come in the gate says, oh my God, it feels good here. Because it does. Nature is the ultimate healing tool. Nature, in fact, we're building a med bed over there in the ground, and we put ginger and turmeric and moringa and all sorts of different plants, the energy of these plants we laid it on the ground, and then we covered him with moss. That moss will fill in over time, and you'll be able to lay right on the ground in this moss. It's kind of like, it feels like laying on a really nice putting green, except for there's no poisons, and it's a better crop that actually heals soil than that putting green grass. And you'll be amongst the butterflies and the flowers and the smells and the sounds of this place, the frequency, the energy, the vibration of this place. And my friends, this is a baby. As this grows, the frequency of abundance grows with it. And we change the world. My friends, Victor Hugo said there's one thing stronger than all of the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. This is it. It's stewardship, it's service, it's building soil, it's the Garden of Eden, it's enlightenment. Enlightenmente is the idea, the light bulb in the mind whose time has come. And people say it's not easy. I don't have the time, the money, the resources. We have homeless people that we are working with that are taking sweet potatoes from here and planting them around their homeless camps. So don't tell me that you don't have the time, the money, the resources, the energy. This is not a time liability. This is a time asset. This is an asset in every conceivable way. Take the ornamentals out, take the lawns out, and grow food instead of lawns. I see so many butterflies. I don't know if you can see them in the distance. Multiple types of butterflies are flying around. My friends, we cannot change things by fighting the existing reality. Instead, together, let's play the game and let's build a new reality, a new model that makes this current evil insanity obsolete. And we can start right now. Go plant some seeds, encourage, inspire, and serve your friends. Start with yourself. Love yourself. Let go of all the bullshit. And how to best do that? You don't have to go through massive amounts of trauma healing, although it helps sometimes, right? The best way to heal trauma is to sit quietly in a room alone and ask questions. Let the tears flow if they need to. They're cleansing. And forgive yourself and love yourself. You were doing the best you could when you made those decisions, those actions, however many years ago. You were doing the best you could when your mom or your dad yelled at you or abused you or abandoned you. It's not your fault. Sit quietly in a room alone, better with nature. Ground yourself. Feel the energy, feel the frequency, meditate, love, feel your frequency rising, and then step into faith and courage. And I'll leave you with one real quick story. We have built 10 homes here without asking for permission. We're all 100% off grid. We had a government agent come by, and he was asking to see building permits. I walked across the food forest. I was standing over there when I got the call, and I walked through here and I saw him standing there. And by the way, what I'm laying out is a strategy for freedom that you can follow if you want to. I walked over and I turned my camera on and I walked up to the fellow because I expected him to be a government asshole. And that was a belief system, right? All belief systems are filters for reality. Right? All belief systems are partly untrue, if not completely untrue. What's true is now. What's true is the present. So the frequency, the energy, the vibration of now, that's the gateway to transformation. Feel the emotion, the frequency of that emotion, and then let it go. Right? So anyway, I turned my camera on and I walked up to the fella and I said, "Hi, my name is Jim Gale. And I'm recording this conversation so we don't mix up any words here." And he said, "Hi, my name's Alexi." And I said, "Well, it's nice to meet you, Alexi, but how did you get permission to come on my land. Implied consent is not granted, and it's both lawfully and legally illegal for you to be here, unjust for you to be here. And he said, I'm sorry, the gate was open, so I just came in, but I will leave if you want me to. And I like the guy. I'm like, oh, I like this guy. So I said, well, maybe, but before you leave, I would like to share with you something. We are not here to fight the government. We are not here to fight the county. We are not here to fight anybody. We fly under the civil peace flag. We are here to demonstrate the solutions to hunger and scarcity and criminality and war and poverty and cancer. We are here to be the stewards of this land. We are here to serve ourselves, our families, and our communities. And we were standing right there in the food forest when I was sharing this. And I said, what you and represent, what your government will allow us to do. And he had this little clipboard with I saw little boxes and check marks on it. He said, what that little box thing will allow us to do is poison and kill everything. You will allow me and even subsidize, and in your structure, you will advocate for and permit us, as like we're slaves, to create biological death zones as represented by every single community that you visited today. Am I wrong? And he said, no. And then he said, you're right, and I will never bother you again. My friends, when we demonstrate the solutions transparently, when we put it on film, and when we invite and call up the individuals that are supporting the structures that enslave us and kill us for the sake of our posterity, for the sake of our kids and grandkids, for the sake of humanity, it's time right now to say, no, I will not comply, and to demonstrate self-reliance. If you're one of those folks like me a while back that is screaming at the system that I know is unjust, and in a way hoping this unjust system fails, well, if the unjust system collapses along with the supply chain right now, tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people will die because they're simply not prepared. Right? Now, do I believe in death? No, I don't actually. It's a transition. We are energy, frequency, and vibration. We are spirit. We are part of the omnipresence, omnipotent, omniscient God. At the same time, I want to stick around here and watch this grow for a while. So instead of collapse, let's you and I be the change. Let's you and I be the transition from the evil system to the live system. And this is the new model. This is the idea whose time has come. This is the embarrassingly simple, joyfully simple solution to all of the world's biggest problems. Love and have a great day, everybody.